Hey, I'm Tony. Today's Friday, and Friday's pizza night. Well, actually, any night's pizza night. If you are making pizza at home, I strongly suggest that you have one of these beautiful aprons. This one's from Me Chef, and I know that whenever I'm wearing this, doesn't matter what I make, it always tastes better. They're super styling. Thanks, Meech. Can't wait to make pizza in it. I'm gonna get it all dirty for you, dude. What's in the kit? Fontina cheese, arugula, a Paese pizza dough. When these pizza doughs are room temperature, they actually work better. So as soon as you get your kit and take it out of the fridge, my suggestion would be that the first thing you do before you do anything else, take half of the semolina, take the dough, let it come to room temperature. Coat it in a little bit of the semolina flour while I'm getting everything else ready. It's gonna be a bit warmer. Wow, that's a few mushrooms. That's probably why they call it a fungi or a fungi, depending on where you're from. I'm a fun guy. Oh, we have some thyme and mushrooms, marriage made in heaven. We have some Parmesan shavings, and we have some truffled vinaigrette. First things first. When you're making the pizza dough, I mean, if you've got a pizza oven at home, that's fantastic. If you don't have a pizza oven at home, you're gonna have to improvise. Improvising to me looks like get your pizza oven up as hot as you can get it. You can warm it up for about half an hour, 45 minutes in advance. That's even better. Just get the whole pizza oven as warm as you can get it. Not to broil, because broil makes it cook from the top. Ideally, you want to get the pizza oven as hot as you can, but you want the heat to come off the bottom. If you have a pizza stone, which is one of those stones that you can buy at most kitchen stores, and you can get the pizza to cook on the stone, that's super nice. The stone is porous. It draws moisture out of the pizza and allowing for a crispy bottom. And that's the whole idea behind the stone. It also retains the heat quite well. If you don't have a pizza stone, I would suggest that you just use one of these round discs. They work just fine. You know, they're not the same as cooking on a stone, but you know, for pizza night, if you have to compromise, just do whatever you have to do to get that pizza in the oven. And you know, there's no such thing as bad pizza. Even a bad pizza is a good thing. That's what we're gonna work with. If you don't have a round one, you can use a rectangular one. All of it works. So to stretch the dough, biggest problem I see with people stretching the dough is that the center is often too thin and the crust side is often too high. Try and avoid using a rolling pin. When you're using a rolling pin and you're using the rolling pin on the dough, quite often what happens is you make the edges taper. And those tapered edges, when you pop it in the oven, they burn too quickly. Just learn to do it by hand. It's gonna take a little bit of practice, but believe me, you know, 6 doughs in, you're gonna be stretching pizza like a champ. I'm working on a marble surface today, but you can work on marble, you can work on granite, you can work on coriander, you can work on wood, you can work on stainless steel. Anything that's non-porous and has a nice smooth finish is okay for making pizza. So what I'm doing with the pizza right now is I'm just pushing the pizza dough all the way to the outside. And the way for me to stretch this pizza dough properly is I envision it as a stretched pizza when I'm working with the dough. So I'm actually, each press, I'm actually forming the crust when I'm working down. So we're forming the crust with each stretch, leaving the middle as high as possible because the middle is the area that gets the most compromised. When I get to the dough to about this point here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a technique where I put my fingers down and then I stretch my fingers like this. And it's the stretching of the fingers like this that helps stretch the dough out. So again, I get the dough moving and then there goes the finger stretch. There's finger stretch, finger stretch, finger stretch, finger stretch. This hand is holding the dough from being pulled across the room, and this hand has got the finger stretch going on. Finger stretch. This hand has way more strength than this hand, by the way. So then we're gonna toss it over the back of my hand, and we're gonna just toss it. Now, the weight of the dough itself is actually stretching it. You don't have to put a lot of tension on it, just a light stretch. And if you get too confident and you put a little crack in it like that, that's not a problem. Just back it up a little bit, press it down with your finger, and go back around and finish the dough. So in my opinion, this dough at this size is a good size. What I'm gonna do to make sure that this makes it from here into our oven and comes off of the pizza peel is I'm gonna lift the dough one more time. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the semolina down, gonna slide it around, and then on the pizza peel, because the idea is I got to get this dough, which is kind of sticky right now, onto this board, and then it's got to slide off when I put it into the pizza oven. So what I do is I put a little bit of the flour, the semolina, I rub it in, I give it another little sprinkle on top using the backs of my hands. I pick the dough up, I put it on here, just like that, to make sure it's nice and round. You don't want it to look like the map of Africa. Just test it, give it a little slide like that. Okay, look, it's sliding nice right now. If it's stuck on your peel, tap it like this. You'll find that it'll go towards your hand where you've tapped it. So that's the way to check it. Works perfect. A little stretch there. Okay, fontina cheese. The fontina cheese has been grated, kind of like a mozzarella, but with more flavor. This is 2.5 ounces of it here. Now, when you're putting the cheese on the pizza, my suggestion is that you put all the toppings no closer than about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Anything that comes to the edge and comes down off of the end, it's gonna burn. I try and keep the toppings along the outside of the dough and not really too much in the middle. And the reason for that is I find that everything ends up in the middle anyway. And when you cut the pizza dough, the middle gets heavy and it gets a little soggy. So if you start off by keeping everything kind of to the outside, I think you end up with a better product. So there we are. Do the mushrooms down. Now these mushrooms have been roasted in the oven. They had a little bit of olive oil, salt, black pepper. They go into the oven at 375 degrees. They stay there for about 35 minutes and they just roast. They don't shrink too much. They've got super nice flavor. The mushrooms in this particular dish are oyster mushrooms, shiitake, portobello, and cremini. But you can use any mushrooms you like. This is thyme. And we're gonna pick this thyme. Thyme has a beautiful, beautiful aroma. And is probably the herb that I like cooking with most when it comes to mushrooms. Mushrooms and thyme are a perfect match in my opinion. Marriage made in heaven. There we are. The thyme in there. We're gonna do a little sprinkle of salt. We're gonna do the tiniest little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. There we are. And because I can, we have a pizza oven. So if, I guess they say, walk this way. And we'll make it over to our pizza oven. This is our oven. Forno Moretti goes to about 600 degrees Celsius. And we've got it down to about just under 400 degrees right now. We're gonna make sure that it slides. There we are. Tap it, make sure it comes off the peel okay. And into the oven it goes. This should take 4 to 5 minutes in this type of an oven. I could crank it up a little bit more if I wanted to and cook it a little bit faster. The design of the dough that we're using is basically, it's made with 00 flour and water, has a little bit of sugar in the dough, but the sugar isn't for sweetness. The sugar is only designed to activate the yeast when you're making the dough, and it's got a little bit of salt. And the mixing process is super important. You want to add salt in at the end. If you add salt in at the beginning, it kills your yeast. This dough is a bit unique in the sense that we have what we call a mother starter. The mother starter is a natural yeast that forms in the environment naturally. Our mother starter is about 30 years old. With each batch of dough, what we do to maintain consistency is we add in about 10% mother starter, and that mother starter helps activate it and helps keep it consistent. The mother starter, when you're adding it to a dough, is almost like a sourdough in essence. So when you're tasting the pizza, you get a little bit of a sourness that you have on the nose. Well, that sourness is the mother starter that you're tasting. This dough also has what we call a 3-day cold fermentation. So we make the dough, we roll it out into balls and portion sizes. It goes into the fridge where it lives for 3 days. So the mother starter combined with the 3-day fermentation really helps build a lot of flavor in the pizza dough, even before you top it. It's a slightly unique product in the sense that it's a combination of many different pizza techniques all combined into one. It's got bread technique, pizza technique, and a little bit of Canadiana thrown in just for good measures. We'll have a look and see how our pizza's doing. Look at that. It's starting to get a little golden there on the side. Now, if you have the luxury of a pizza oven, this is a good time to check it, give it a little spin, half turn. These ovens are notoriously hotter in the back than they are in the front. And we close it again. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Any night's a good night for pizza night. In fact, you know, if I had it my way, I'd have pizza 7 days a week. I'd eat it instead of bread. If I wanted to make a sandwich, I would basically take a pizza and put something in between it, and fold it in half. That would be a sandwich. This looks like it's coming along quite nicely. Oh, there we are. We'll check it. We're going in. Check the bottom of it. Oh, yeah. See the color on the bottom of it? That's what you're looking for. Woo! Gonna give it another 10 seconds just to crisp it up just a little bit more. So the pizza should be dark on the bottom, but no black. It should be like a dark brown on the bottom, no black. And the top of it can have dark brown. And if it has little crispy black parts on the top of it, as long as it's not more than like 5 or 10% of the dough, that's perfect. And that's what it should be. It should be a layering of textures and flavors. And in my opinion, this pizza is ready to go. A little bit of black, lots of brown, golden, cheese is bubbling, the mushrooms, and it smells amazing. Right now, I can smell those mushrooms and I can smell that thyme. It's incredible. I'm gonna put it onto what we call our cutting sheet. There it is right there. And you can buy these pans in any size. This one here is 14-inch size, and that's the one I'm gonna use just for cutting it. So this pizza gets topped with arugula and Parmesan. We've made a dressing made with extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of truffle and lemon. There it is right here. Give it a little shake. Goes on top. A little bit of salt. Tiny little bit of pepper. Give it a stir. And then we're going to put this all over this beautiful looking little pizza. It's like a salad on a pizza. And over here we have some shaved Parmigiano Reggiano. Spread that out. Wow, I can smell the truffle. It smells amazing. Truffle and mushrooms, fantastic combination. There we are. That's the finished product. Next step, need a 12-inch plate. This is the pizza cutting tray, pizza wheel. Cut, 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 cut. Put it all back together. There we are. I'm happy with that. Let's give that a taste. So this is what I look for in a pizza. A nice thin crust, completely cooked through the middle, not soggy, and it stands up on its own. It's not too topped with items, and it looks great. Let's see if it's too hot to eat, but yeah. Happy Friday. Cheers.